Hello and welcome back to the next episode in the Cyberpunk Red guide. In this one I'm actually doing a bit of a, not a fix of the other videos, but just an addition, a few things that I forgot, and a suggestion actually. And we'll start with the suggestion, and to me this makes a lot of sense. On the character sheets under the skills you've got here level, stat and base. And whenever I described it I said you have your level, your stat and then your base is usually 0, but you can, if you've got a bonus from like cyberware or some other bonus, you then put that in. And while that works well, that's fine, that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Someone suggested using base as a total. So you have your 5 and 7, so that means you've got a base of 12. See, so you use base as this is what you add to your die rolls, so that you're not having to add together your level and your stat every time, which to me makes a lot of sense actually, and I kind of prefer that. That's a nice way of doing it, because then that way again you're having to do less adding in your head whenever you're trying to add all these numbers together. So one thing to be aware of though, if you are doing it this way, make sure that you add your any bonuses from your cyberware and thing like that into it as well. So the likes of this one here that's lip reading, that I've got a +2 because of my cyber eyes. I need to make sure to add them together, so that's Maths 9. I'm not good at mental maths, so that's 9 because of my cyberware. So you need to make sure that you're aware of that. So what I would actually suggest you do is that whenever you fill out your stats in the first instance, whenever you first make it, go through, put it in as I said, where you have your level, your stat, and then any bonuses you have from cyberware and stuff like that. And then once you're done, once your character's made, go back through and then add them all together into your base. And then that way you've got you've got your base there, and then it's just a roll, and you know what you need to add to it. Just as something someone suggested, I think it makes a lot of sense. And actually in Roll20, the virtual tabletop platform, the character sheet that they have for Cyberpunk, it actually has base marked as total instead. So, another thing that I completely glazed over is your roll ability. So, to start off, your roll ability, for whatever role you pick, always starts at rank 4. And you get the appropriate amount of upgrades that you would had you have leveled up in that rank. Now, what I mean by that is, if we look here at the tech rolls ability, so the tech rolls ability is maker, you can fix, improve, modify, invent, all that good stuff. Whenever a tech increases their maker rank by 1, they gain 1 rank in 2 different maker specialities of their choice. So every time I gain a rank, I can pick 2 specialities and up it by 1. Okay, I can't put both points into the same one, so if I leveled up, say, from 4 to 5, I couldn't put both those points into repairing. It must be into 2 separate skills, but you do get 2 points per rank. This is different per role. Each role will have a different criteria of how these skills are divvied up, because each rank or each role is drastically different. So you need to read your role sheet. I'm going to go through now in this one and go through the text role ability in depth and let you see how it works and things like that. If you want me to do this on any of the other roles or all of the other roles, just comment below, let me know, and we'll do that. I'll go through each individual role sheet and sort of explain how they work. At the minute I am not planning to do that, so please, if you do want to see that, let me know, and we'll put it in. And even, I don't know, I'll maybe do a vote to see what rank or what role ability people would want to see first. So for Jack here, what I've done is I've went through and actually put these points in. So you can see here he's got a 3 in repairing. If you remember, he grew up with the nomads. He sort of ran around with them, so I assumed that he's good at fixing. He's spent a lot of time fixing and maintaining their vehicles. Upgrading 2, same thing. Fabricating 2 and inventing 1. I don't picture him as much of an inventor. I would like him to be an inventor. Me, if I was projecting myself into this player, a bit more of an inventor, but that's not what Jack is, I don't think. So his inventing is only 1, but maybe as he levels up, he'll get more inventive. Now, another thing that I haven't touched on, and we'll go into it more and do demonstrations of this whenever we get to leveling up. But it's multi-classing, effectively. So if you're used to D&D, you'll know what that means. It's basically you take multiple roles in Cyberpunk. So let's say Jack, he's been out, he's had a few firefights, and he's patched a few friends up, and he thinks, do you know what? I wanna learn how to be a med tech. I want to learn how to patch people up and fix them, which isn't drastically different from what he currently does, but it would give him that extra ability to keep people alive on the battlefield. He can do that. Multi-classing is a perfectly okay thing to do. However, you can only do it when you have a rank of 4 in your lowest role. That sounds complicated, but it's not. So I currently have a rank of 4 in my role, because that's what everyone starts with. So the next time I choose to level up, I can take another role. So I can make Jack into a med tech, and that's the example we'll work with later on when we're doing leveling up. So I can make him a med tech, that's fine, but he starts that med tech at level 1, or however many levels I spend to get him. You spend improvement points to level up. So, but we'll say for sake of argument, he starts as a med tech level 1, so he's a scrub, he's a newbie. I can't then multi-class him further until his med tech level is 4. So your lowest skill, whatever your lowest skill is, or your newest skill, has to be at least level 4 before you can take another role ability or another role on. So you can't just go, okay, I'm going to take a role of medtech, a role of solo, a role of exec, and then that's it. You've got one in each of them. It doesn't work like that. You can perfectly, you're perfectly okay to sit with a medtech of 1 and just keep pumping ranks into tech and just become, just have that 1 rank there of medtech. You can do that, not a problem. But it just means that you can't take another role. You can't multi-class further until that one is at least 4. So it's just a way to stop people spreading out too much. So that's the other thing, multi-classing. Now we're going to go in and actually take a look at the tech's role ability. Their tech ability is Maker, and it's broken down into different chunks, different categories. Field expertise, upgrade expertise, fabrication expertise, and inventing, I believe is the last one, invention expertise. Field expertise is effectively repair, which is what you'll see that I've called it that on the notes. Strictly speaking, it's not quite the same. What field expertise lets you do, it can allow you to do a temporary repair on something. So say you're in a car and you're in a car chase and you're rattling down a street, your solo's blasting firepower out at whoever you're chasing, and the person you're chasing fires back and blows out a tire. The tire starts to skid and you're going all over the place. You can attempt to fix that, just give it a quick patch just to keep you going and keep you in the fight. You can do that, and field expertise lets you do that. A temporary fix does not last that long, and it's not as good as a full fix, but it's a quick way of getting you up and moving again. So you can see there each jury rig. So you add your rank in field expertise to your check, which is the same DV as what it would be to repair an item. We'll cover DVs and all that whenever we get to the skill checks, which will be the next video I am recording today. And as I said, it holds for 10 minutes for each rank that you have in the specialty, after which the item returns to the state before you jerry-rigged it. And it can't be jerry-rigged again until it's been fully repaired. So basically, if I have 2 points in expertise, which in fact, let's go back to Jack's character sheet and see that he has 3 points in field expertise. So that means if he manages to successfully jerry-rig something, so let's say he manages to get that tire fixed quickly so you can get back onto it, it'll last for 30 minutes because he has 3 ranks in field expertise. So it'll hold for 30 minutes before it breaks, but once it's broken, he needs to fix it properly. So you can add your rank into this specialty for any basic tech, cyber tech, electronics, weapons tech, all that good stuff. For any non-maker, so that's something that you're doing outside of the maker ability, so inventing and upgrading and stuff like that. So for any non-maker specialty purpose. So basically whenever you make a check with this, you can add your field expertise to it. your GM will let you know if you can't. if there's a reason why you can't add your field expertise to this, they will let you know, but as it's written there, it's for any non-maker specialty purpose. Next one here is the upgrade expertise. Basically, you can upgrade whatever the hell you like, within reason. The reason I like a tech is because, you know, the limit is your imagination and your GM. You can attempt to make and upgrade and do anything you want, but obviously it has to fit within the narrative somewhere. There has to be some way of applying, you know, a skill check to it, or a, you know, what does it mimic as an item in the world. But you are unlimited in that way, and in the upgrade, you can improve an item in one of the following ways, and the item can only benefit from one upgrade by this speciality. So I should point out that this upgrade is separate to an upgrade that you might just generally install. So if you have a normal SMG and you buy a extended magazine for it, giving it more ammunition, the upgrade expertise is separate to the upgrade slots that takes up. So whenever you buy a weapon, they typically have 2 upgrade slots. This does not count as one of those upgrade slots. So a few of the options that you can do here: lower humanity loss of non-Borgware cyberware. So, you know, my cyber armor, my cyber I could lower that. It doesn't count for Borgware. So Borgware is very like integrated. You're basically replacing a big chunk of your body with machine type cyberware. You can't do it for that. It can only be for other non-Borgware cyberware, which is still a lot. And reducing that humanity loss can be a big deal, especially when you start getting a lot of cyberware. You can increase the number of slots a type of item has for options. So it said there about the attachments on a weapon. You've got attachment slots. The upgrades do not count for those attachment slots, and in fact you can increase the attachment slots by 1 by using this upgrade. The skill roll of it is your tech plus the tech skill required that the item is typically repaired with, plus your rank speciality, plus 1d10. So we will get to this when we get to actually doing skill checks. You'll see what the how that works out. But basically, you're doing a skill check against a difficulty value. So each item will have a difficulty value assigned to it. Let's say, for sake of argument, it's 10 for whatever item. Let's say I'm making a weapon concealable that isn't usually concealable, and we'll say that it's got a, usually to repair that item, we'll say it's a machete, and we'll say usually to repair that item it's a difficulty 10. It's not hard to repair, fairly easy. So in that case, if I was doing the roll, I would roll my tech plus the tech skill that the item is usually repaired with. So in this case it would be weapons tech, your rank and speciality plus a d10. So you see, you got a lot of bonuses there, especially if you've got rolls in this, and then you roll a d10, add them all together, and then it's against the difficulty value that's been assigned. And sorry, the difficulty value for the item is based on the price category of the item you're upgrading. So you'll notice that some things are cheap, costly, expensive, extravagant. I think there's maybe another one in there. Your GM will tell you what your DV is to beat, or they might not. They might just say, yeah, make a roll, and they'll say yes or no, you did it. But it's based on the how expensive the item is. So the more expensive and rare the item is, the harder it is for you to upgrade. And another point to note, with everything with a maker, you need materials, so you need to buy materials, and it will have a cost attributed to it, usually related to the item that you're trying to upgrade or make or whatever. So next one, fabrication. You're trying to make an item that has already existed, or you've invented, or another tech's invented and they've told you how to do it. The ability check, it's very similar to what was above. You do your tech skill that the item's repaired with, or would be repaired with, your rank and speciality, and a d10. In this one, you must purchase materials of one price category lower than the price category of the item being fabricated, except for super luxury items which require materials equal to half their price to fabricate. Basically what this means is it's cheaper for you to build the item. So let's say it's a costly item, you could build it for cheap. So let's actually pull up the So let's say you have an item that you want to make. I've got an example here, and let's say you want to make a heavy pistol. That's a premium price category, so it's 100 eddies to buy a heavy handgun, or a heavy pistol just out of the box if you went to get it. If you wanted to make it, you need to buy materials that are one grade lower than that, and the grade lower than that would be costly, which is 50 eddies. So you basically make it for half the price, but it stacks with the cost barriers that there are. So the next one up, let me see, is expensive, which is 500 eddies. So you can see there, if I wanted to make a shotgun, which is 500 eddies, I could actually make it for 100 eddies, which is the next price band down. So you can see it's actually really, really good to have a tech on your side, because they can make things for really cheap compared to what it would cost you to actually go and buy them. And also just from a downtime perspective, making money, tech could spend their downtime just making things and selling them, or giving them to a fixer to sell them, or someone like that. So, you know, the fabrication is a really handy one to have. Now, you can fail the check. If you do fail the check, the materials that you've bought are fine. You don't destroy them in the process, but it takes you half the time, so it's halfway through the process. The more expensive the item, the longer it takes you to make it. So and that'll be down. Your GM will keep you right on that, how much downtime you need to actually fabricate this thing. Next and last, upgrade or invention, and invention is a cool one. So you can invent an upgrade to an existing item, invent an entirely new item. The limit is your imagination. It is fantastic. Now, you need to be very specific to your GM as to what you want this item or upgrade to do, and you really need to talk to them about it and make sure that they know what you want to do, and make sure that you yourself know what you want to make. There's no point going in and be like, I want to invent something. Like, what do you want to invent? I don't know something. That's not helpful, because, you know, what cost of materials are you using? How long are you spending on it? If it's vague, it's difficult for the GM to give you actual guidelines as to how long this is going to take you. So be specific in what you want, and then speak to the GM and hash it out. The invention expertise part of the maker role is, well, it can be game breaking if your GM lets you just run away with it and you start making, you know, the turbo laser killer 3000 that just ignores armor and turns people into goo. You know, if your GM lets you build that, well, it's on the GM's fault at that point. But it can be game breaking, so you really have to work with your GM and make sure that, you know, that what you're wanting to make is okay and that it fits, and your GM may well say no. If you try to make the super laser in 8 or 3000, they may say, well, no, you can make a laser gun and it will do XYZ, but no, you're not making something that just kills people. So you need to work with your GM on it, but it's such a cool feature. A key thing to point out is to make sure that it fits in with something that already exists, especially if it's a weapon. And what I mean by that is, if you're making, say, a new type of weapon, well, what type of weapon is it? Would it be more of a handgun? Would it be a shoulder arm or a launcher or something more unique? It needs to be able to fit into a category of some shape or form. You know, so you can say, okay, it's basically like a shotgun, but it does XYZ, so that it can fit into that category. And it's basically so that the GM can help you keep track of it and make sure and manage costs, as I said. So once you've actually invented it, you've then got blueprints. So you don't have a final product whenever you're actually done. You have the schematic, the principle of it. You then need to go into the fabricate and then build it, and that's where the cost of the materials and everything comes into. So if you're going to be a mad inventor, you're going to need to have at least a tech who can fabricate on hand, or you're going to need to be able to fabricate yourself and then be able to make the item, this amazing upgrade or this amazing weapon that you've concocted, mad scientist, in your back room. So that's the tech role. That's everything. You've got the being able to repair things on the fly, add bonuses to checks that you're making with them, upgrade, build, and invent. All very cool stuff. It's why the tech has sort of overtaken the Netrunner is my favourite. It's just, there's just so much you could do with it. It's beautiful. Now, like I said, if you want me to do videos around the different roles of all the different classes, please let me know, because I am not planning to do it, because it's a video for each one. It will take a while. But if you want it, please put it in the comments below, and let me know which one you'd like to see next. I am assuming possibly the Netrunner might be the next one that people want to see, but that's just what I'm assuming. So yeah, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one when we start to get into ability checks.